Hello everyone and welcome back to the 2018 Granny Square Crochet Along. Today we are doing our square number 96, which is this square, which is the apple blossom square. I apologise for all my ends hanging here. I'm actually, as I've done once before, I'm actually recording this after I've finished the video to show you how to make it, and I haven't yet sewn in my ends, so we're making this square today. It is our first square in a series of bullion square stitches. So we've got some bullion stitches going on in the corners. Now a night or two ago I uploaded an episode of my how to with Teacup Jojo, showing you how to make the bullion stitch. I gave you about 4 or 5 different ways of how you can make this stitch. So if you are not sure about this stitch, then hop on over there and have a look at that first. I'll put a link in the description box below to that tutorial, and we are going to alternate our bullion stitch squares with really nice, simple, easy squares for this next few days. Okay, so don't panic, there are going to be some easier squares in between. Okay, so today you will need 3 colours are suggested, so we've got 3 colours suggested here, and then you will need some different size hooks, because the person who tested this for us said that it lays flatter and needs it if you use some different size hooks. So you can try it with just one size hook if you like, but I've gone along with what was suggested, and that is to use an E hook, which is 3.5mm. Now this is assuming that your regular hook size is a 4.5. okay, so if your regular hook size is a 4.5, then grab a 3.5mm hook. Now this says D, but apparently it's an E. I don't know, 3.5mm DE, and so you need one of those. So I'm just going to go by millimeters, okay, so 3.5mm, and then it was suggested for a 3.75. now I don't have one of those, so I have gone to a 4mm hook. Gosh, I've used this a lot, it's wearing off there. So I've gone to a 4mm, so 3.75 or 4, and then your regular hook size, which obviously would be the 4.5. So you need those 3 different hook sizes, and when you do your bullion stitches, you'll need to know how you prefer to make them. So this is where, if you know how you prefer to make them just with your normal hook, that's fine, but how I did it on the how to was I used 2 things together, 2 hooks together. So I've got a 3.5mm and I've got this tiny 2mm hook to go upside down against it. If that sounds really confusing to you, go watch the how to, or when we do come around to doing the bullions, I do show you these this first corner. I will explain how to do it using these 2 hooks. So whatever you need to do your bullion, whether you want the drinking straw or the little needle, whatever you find useful there, and you'll need some scissors for obviously cutting your yarns. So grab all your stuff. Maybe you might want to get a cup of tea. I'm going to go and get one just now, now that I've finished the video. Grab your stuff, and then it'll be time for the bit where it shows you how to do the bit, how to do the square. So pause the video, grab all your bits and bobs, and let's get started on round 1. Okay, so to start round 1, you need your 3.5mm hook, and which is an E hook, so E or 3.5mm, and you are going to chain 4 and do a slip stitch to form your ring, and then in your ring you are going to do a chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this will count as a treble crochet and 2 chains, so 4 of these stitches will be your treble crochet and 2 chains, and then you are going to do 6 times. You are going to make a treble crochet, so 2 wraps, treble crochet, and a chain 2. Did I say 6 times? Maybe I meant 7 times, because we want to have 8 treble crochets and 8 chain 2 spaces. So go ahead and make your 8 treble crochets with 2 chains in between. So you've got this one here, your chain counts as treble crochet, chain 2, then you need to do these 7 treble crochets around, and I'll meet you back here to do our slip stitch. Okay, so when you have your 8 treble crochets, you need 7 treble crochets. I never know how to word that. You're going to find your 4th chain of this initial chain, so 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be the same as going into the top of a treble crochet, and just do a slip stitch into that chain there, and that is the end of round 1. You can pull this center in a little bit tighter. That's the end of round 1. You should have 8 treble crochets now and 8 chain 2 spaces. So let's move on to round 2. So for round 2, if you're changing colour, you need to fasten this off and grab your next colour, which is colour A. Okay, so you want to join your colour A into any chain 2 space, and continuing with your 3.5mm hook, you are going to chain 3. This will be as a double crochet. Okay, and now we're going to do a cluster stitch in this chain space, and it would normally be a 5 double crochet cluster, but because we've already got this one, we're going to do it a little bit differently. Excuse me. So we're going to do 4 double crochets. Each time you're going to hold back this last loop. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. You will have 5 loops on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through all 5, and that's your cluster there for that first space. And then you are going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this will be a space for our next round. And now you're going to work your proper cluster, so 5 double crochets into this space, or 5 part double crochets. So each time you're only working that 1 yarn over and leaving a loop on the hook, and you're working towards 6 loops left on the hook, because each time you're leaving a loop plus the original loop that was on there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Yarn over and pull through all 6 loops, and then chain 6, 4, 5, 6, and then work this around. Cluster, 5 double crochet cluster, chain 6, 5 double crochet cluster, chain 6, back to the start where you're going to slip stitch in the top of your chain 3 to finish off that round. Okay, so at the end of round 2 we should have this, your kind of flowery center, and then these clusters and chain spaces. So now you are going to fasten that off after joining into your 3rd chain. Fasten that off and then grab your colour B. So I'm having B for blue to help me remember a little bit there. And you're going to join into the top of one of your clusters. So if you look at your clusters on the top, between your chains, there should just be a stitch there at the top of your cluster. So go under that, make a slip stitch join as always, pull that down, and then we'll continue for round 3. Okay, so we are going to do a chain 1 and a single crochet in this same space. I'm just going to bring my tail over here and work to secure that slightly. Okay, so chain 1 and a single crochet in the top of that cluster, and then in the next chain space you're going to do 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single crochets over that chain, and then in the next top of the cluster you're going to do a single crochet, and this is as simple as this round is. 6 single crochets around your chain, single crochet in the top of your cluster, 6 single crochets, 1 in the top, all the way around, and join with a slip stitch to your first single crochet here, and I will see you back around this beginning. Okay, so at the end of round 3, this is what we've got now. We've got this kind of ring, flowery ring going on now. It's looking really pretty actually, really liking this square. So now we are going to chain 3 as our double crochet, and then you're going to do a double crochet in that same stitch, and then you're going to do a double crochet in these next 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then you're going to do 2 double crochet in the next one, the one that's on top of our cluster. Do 2 double crochet in there, and then you're going to do 6 double crochets over these ones here, and then 1 in the top here, and another 6 and 1 there, all the way around. And when you get round to the beginning, you're going to do a slip stitch in the top of your chain 3, as you always do. So 1 in every stitch around basically. No, sorry, 2 in the top of your cluster and 1 in each of these in the chain. 2, then 6, 2, then 6. And I'll see you back around here. Okay, so a slip stitch in the top of your 3rd chain there, and now you can see this starting to sort of square off a little bit. It's a little bit what is it, octagonal, 8 sides, octagonal. So fasten off there, and it's time to move, well, sorry, just do your slip stitch there, and it is time to go on to round 5. Actually, sorry, you do need to fasten that off. So fasten this colour off and grab your colour C again. Colour C was this colour we started with. I know we normally would start with colour A, but anyway, it's colour C. So grab your colour from there after you've fastened this off, and we'll start round 5. Okay, so find where you have done 2 double crochets into the top of the cluster. Now you probably know, some of you know that I haven't done it here very much, but I like to stagger my tails around so that when I'm sewing in on the back, I'm sewing some here, some over here, some over here. So I'm just going to move around the circle a little, and now find the 2 double crochets above your cluster, and then on the first one you want to first double crochet of 2 double crochet. Okay, so the back loop of your first double crochet there, join your colour into that back loop of that first double crochet of 2. Okay, so slip stitch there, and then you are going to do a chain 1 and a single crochet in this same space. So still in this back loop only, you are doing a single crochet. So okay, so you've joined your colour, done a chain 1 and done a single crochet all in that back loop, and now you're going to chain 2, skip the next stitch, and then do a single crochet in the next back loop. So this is all back loops only. Do a, oh, you're going to do this all the way around. Sorry, I'm just looking at the pattern here. I haven't actually had a chance to practice this one, which I normally practice before I do my videos, so I know what I'm doing. We're just going to, follow it along together. So all the way around, you're going to do a chain 2, and then skip a stitch, single crochet in the next stitch in the back loop, chain 2, skip a stitch, single crochet in the back loop. And that's as simple as this round is. Chain 2, single crochet in the back loop, and you're going to follow this all the way around. You should have a chain 2 at the end, so when you come around here there should be a chain 2 and then join into the top of your first single crochet, and you should have 32 chain 2 spaces when you finish. So these spaces, you should have 32 spaces when you finished. So all the way around, and I'll see you back around here. And when you have finished that round, you'll have something that looks a bit like this. So it looks almost frilly, doesn't it? So you've got 32 chain spaces going on there, and that's the end of round 5. Time for round 6. Okay, so we are moving on to round 6. We've got round 6 and round 7, and we're done. So we've got this lovely, almost frilly effect going on this round. It's lovely. So this is the round where we introduce the bullion stitch. If you haven't practiced the bullion stitch yet and you want to before you do it on this square, I will put a link to that in the description box just below. So you can go and have a look at that. I give you several methods of how you can try the bullion stitch and win. But today I'm going to use the 2 hook method, where you use a hook and then you put another hook, a much smaller hook, upside down. So I'm going to use that method today. Okay, so we're going to continue with the same hook for now. I'm just going to change over when I do the bullion stitch. Okay, so what you're going to do is do a slip stitch over into this next chain space. Just slip stitch over from where you fastened off into this chain space, do a chain 3, and then once you've done that, grab whatever it is you want to use to do your bullion stitch. It might just be using your hook and your fingers. That's perfectly fine. Okay, so are you ready? Let's pop your hook in, and this is the way I'm going to do it. It's a 10 wrap bullion, so whichever way you prefer, it's going to be a 10 wrap. So this is the way I do it. I put my thinner hook on top. Now I've gone down to a 3.5 because I'm using a second thing on top, so I'm not using my regular hook there. Okay, so hold on to this loop here. I'm just going to show you this way if you haven't seen this done before, and then do 10 wraps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bring that down so that your hook is free to use. Go into this same space as where you've got your 3 chains, and then you're going to pull this yarn through, and now you've got this loop. If you slide this thinner hook up, she says, slide it up and then cover your hook. Okay, can you see covering your hook there with that, so nothing can come off of your hook. This hook loop here is trapped. Pull up a bit of working yarn and then just slightly tilt your hook and slide these loops off of your hook. You've got 2 loops left, your original and your new one. Slip that over, pull your working yarn down slightly just to tighten that up so it's not so sloppy, and there is your first bullion. Not actually quite so scary, is it? So we're just going to do this to fasten off our bullion, is pull that loop up. So you will have this long strand at the back, but that's absolutely fine. And then do a chain 1. Okay, so we're going to do one more bullion in this space here. So grab your hook upside down, do 10 yarn overs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 yarn overs there. Hold on to this top one so it doesn't go anywhere. Pop your hook through. This is the trickiest part actually. Keeping that top one, so this is in between. You see what's in between there? Do a yarn over, but only onto that bottom one. Use your hook and pull that yarn through. Pop your top hook over to close that up. You see, close that up. And then slide these stitches over and off. You're left with your original and your new loop. Slip it over. Pull this yarn down just to tighten that. Make sure your 2 bullions are about the same height. Pull up this yarn and through, and then do a chain 1. Okay, there's your 2 bullions, and then you're going to go into the next space and do 2 more bullions. So grab your upside down hook or whatever. I'm going to show you this once more. Pop it into the next space. Sorry, no, don't pop it into that space. Do your yarn overs first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, hold on to that top one. Go into the next space. Do a yarn over onto that bottom hook. Pull through, pull up your working yarn a little. Slide this hook up and cover that hook. And then slide these loops all the way off. Slip your last loop over. It's lost a strand there. Let's just pick that strand up. There we go. Pull your working yarn down to about the same height as your other bullions. Pull this yarn up and through. Do a chain and one more bullion in this same space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wraps. Insert your hook into that space. Keep this one out of the way. Okay, yarn over just on the red or bottom hook. My hook's red, yours might be pink, blue, purple. Pull through, pull up some working yarn, slide this up to cover the hook. Okay, slide that up to cover the hook. Pull these gently off. Slip stitch, or slip that loop through. Pull your yarn down to neaten and the same height. Pull this yarn up and through. And do a chain of 1. And that is your bullion stitch. You've got all these yarns at the back, but they are at the back and they look kind of neat anyway. So there is your corner made of bullion stitches. There you go. How cool is that? Your bullion stitch corner. So grab your original hook and we are going to work into the spaces and do 2 double crochets in the next space. We're squaring this off now. 2 half double crochets in the next space. 1, 2. 2 single crochets in the next. And 2 single crochet in the next. This is like a mirror image now. So 1, 2. 2 half double crochets in the next. And 2 double crochet in the next. And then you are going to do exactly what you've done here. You're going to do 2 bullion stitches in the next space, and then you're going to do 2 bullion stitches in the next space, and then around here you're going to follow it and do your two double, 2 half, 4 singles, 2 and 2, 2 half, 2 double, and then you'll be back around here by this point, and you'll be doing 2 bullion and then another 2 bullion, excuse me, another 2 bullion in the next space. So rewind this video about 8 minutes and follow this around, all the way around until you get here, and we will fasten off together. Okay, so I apologise guys if the lights changed a bit. It's this springtime sun, it just it moves around and changes. So since I paused and did my my round, the sun's changed and we've had to pull the blind down, and anyway, I hope that it hasn't put you off too much and we can continue. We've only got one more round to go. So if you've done all your stitches correctly, you should have finished in your last space with 2 double crochets, and then you're going to find the top of your bullion stitch, which if you look, you've got your chain, and then you just got this bit on top if you look where your stitch was, where you brought that yarn up. Remember this yarn at the side here when you brought that up and slipped over. So pop your hook under there and do a slip stitch, and that is the end of round 6. So fasten that off and grab your colour B, which was the colour you did your circle here. Obviously you can get any colour you like, but it was this this colour here. So I'm going to grab my blue and we're going to finish this square. I'm going to do our round 7. Okay, now this is going to be a round of single crochets, nice and simple. And I forgot to say, you need to go back to whatever size hook you normally would use, so 4.5. okay, so I've now got my 4.5mm hook, and we are going to go into the space here before the first bullion. So actually I'm going to come around this side here. So the space before your first bullion stitch, join in there with a slip stitch. Where's my yarn gone? There we go. So join in there with a slip stitch and slip that over there, and then you are going to do okay, sorry guys, just needed to check the pattern there. So you are going to do 2 single crochets in this space here, 1, 2, the space before the bullion, and then you're going to do 2 single crochets in the next space, and then for your corner, which is, just don't make the mistake of going between the strand, make sure that strand is next to the bullion. Okay, so you're going to do 3 single crochets in this space here, and that's your corner, and then you're going to do 2 single crochets. Oops, I've done it again. Gone between that strand and the bullion, don't make that mistake. Okay, 2 single crochets in there, 2 single crochets in the next, and then you're going to do a single crochet in every stitch along. So remember, you've got your 2 double crochets, your 2 half double crochets, 4 singles, 2 doubles, 2 half doubles, 2 doubles. So a single crochet in each of those stitches along, and then when you get back to this corner, when you get to this corner, you're going to do 2 in the first 2 spaces, so 2 in here, 2 in here, and then in between the 2 sets you're going to do 3 for your corner. Okay, so 1 in each stitch, 2, 2, and then 3, and then follow it all the way around until you get back to the beginning, and you're going to do a slip stitch in your first single crochet, and I will see you back around here. Okay, so do your slip stitch in your first single crochet and fasten off your yarn. And this is our square. I love it. It's so pretty. So pretty. You will need to just give it a bit of a pull out at the sides and corners. If it's not quite up to the size you are using for your squares, then just you can add another round of single crochets, half double crochets, whichever you fancy. You've done especially if you've done a few of these squares by now, you know what you're doing with your sizes. So there you go. There's your J96 square, the apple blossom square. Beautiful. So if you have found this helpful and useful, don't forget, as always, to give us a thumbs up, click on that like button, and subscribe, and you will get early notification of our videos. They do go up where possible. They do go up about an hour before the patterns go up in the group, so click that subscribe button for early access. And until next time, guys, just keep hooking and don't let your tea get cold.